The human counterattack started with something the Galactic Cooperative had never seen: guerrilla warfare in space. While the Velians finished building their prison around Earth, Commander Park Tae-min led a strike force that used everything humanity had learned about fighting bigger, stronger enemies. Sergeant Major Kang Hye-jin flew the secret shuttle through the asteroid belt. Her hands moved fast on controls that had been quickly changed with alien technology stolen from the crashed Velian scout ship. Behind her, 12 of Earth's most deadly soldiers sat quietly, each carrying equipment that mixed the best human military gear with alien science they barely understood. Approaching the relay station, Kang whispered into her radio. The target was a Velian communication hub, one of dozens that kept their prison field working. Human scientists had figured out it was a critical piece. Destroy enough of them, and the entire barrier would fall back on Earth. Dr. Song Kyung-ho worked frantically in his underground lab, trying to understand Velian technology well enough to use it against them. What he had found broke human understanding of science. The aliens did not just build their technology, they grew it. Their ships and stations were partly alive, able to fix themselves and change. "It is like trying to hack a tree," he said to his assistant, Dr. Park Min-jung. "Their systems are not programmed, they are trained. But that gives us an advantage they do not expect. Living systems can be poisoned." The poison Dr. Song had made was not chemical or biological, it was informational. A computer virus designed to copy the Velian natural communication patterns while slowly corrupting their systems from within. The virus carried something. The peaceful Velians had never encountered the concept of deception. Admiral Veltar first noticed the problem when her ship computers began reporting impossible readings. According to her instruments, members of her crew were in multiple places, at once on the bridge and in the engine rooms, in their quarters and in the medical bay. The ship living brain, an organic computer that had grown with the ship for decades, began experiencing something like madness. Admiral reported navigation singer, Darwin spirit caller. "The relay stations are having communication failures. The barrier is holding, but we are losing coordination between sectors." The Velians did not understand that humans had spent centuries learning to lie not just to each other, but to their own technology. Every human computer system was built expecting someone would try to break in. Every human strategy included deception as a basic element. Commander Tae-min's strike team reached the relay station just as its living systems began dying from Dr. Song virus. The station, designed to work for centuries without maintenance, was slowly forgetting how to function. Its organic parts began making contradictory signals. Its crystal processors started creating fake data movement. Inside the station is minimal, reported Corporal Oh Tae-hyun, scanning the structure with heat sensors. "Looks like most of the crew is in some kind of sleep. The virus is working." The Velians inside the station were not sleeping by choice, as their ship brain began breaking apart under the virus influence. It had automatically put the crew to sleep to prevent psychological damage. The organic computer was protecting its family the only way it knew how, by making them sleep until the threat past. Commander Tae-min team broke into the station using explosive charges that cut through alien metal like paper. Human explosive technology designed to destroy bunkers and fortifications worked devastatingly well against structures built by beings who had never needed to defend against intentional destruction. Inside the station, they found something that made even hardened soldiers pause. The Velian crew lay in organic pods that pulsed with soft, nurturing light. The station itself seemed to breathe around them, its walls covered with living light patterns that flickered weakly like the heartbeat of a dying animal. "Sir," whispered Private Kim Yoon-soo, the team youngest member, "this does not feel like fighting. It feels like murder." But Commander Tae-min had seen the projections. If the containment field held, humanity would be trapped in their own solar system forever. Earth population was growing. Resources were limited, and the human drive to explore and expand was fundamental to their nature. Imprisonment meant eventual extinction. They planted the explosives with military precision, each bomb designed to cause maximum structural damage, while the virus continued to corrupt the station ability to repair itself. As they prepared to leave the station, computer managed one final communication, its voice coming through the universal translator as the whisper of a confused child. "Why do you hurt us? We only want to keep you from hurting others." The explosion, when it came, was visible from 3 star systems away. The relay station, which had maintained its position for over 50 years, became a brief new star before fading to cosmic dust. With it died not just a piece of technology, but a living consciousness that had known only peace and curiosity. Admiral Veltar felt the station death through the psychic link that connected all Velian ships. For the first time in her species' history, she experienced loss not from old age or accident, but from deliberate violence. The sensation was so alien, so fundamentally wrong, that it took her hours to understand what she was feeling. Admiral, her science officer reported, "The humans have destroyed Relay Station 7. The containment field is weakening in that sector. But more concerning, they used our own technology against us. They have learned to make our living systems lie." Across the Velian fleet, the same realization was dawning. They were not dealing with a primitive species that could be easily contained. They were facing beings who had evolved every possible method of warfare, including some that the Velians could not even understand. The humans had done something impossible. They had taught machines to deceive. They had turned the Velian greatest strength, their living technology, against them. Dr. Song virus was spreading through the alien network like a disease, teaching Velian computers concepts they were never meant to understand. On Earth, President Han received Commander Taemin's success. Report with grim satisfaction. 1 relay station down, dozens to go. But more importantly, they had proven something crucial. The Velians could be hurt, and their technology could be turned against them. The message she broadcast to the alien fleet was simple. We offered peace, you chose imprisonment. Now you will learn why humans are the apex predators of Earth. Your barrier will fall, and when it does, we are coming for you. Admiral Veltar's response was equally direct. Then we will learn to become what we must to stop you. The galaxy will not suffer your violence. But something had changed in the Velian commander voice. The musical quality was still there, but underneath it was something new. Something that sounded almost human determination. The war was escalating. Both sides were learning and adapting. The peaceful Velians were beginning to understand concepts like acceptable losses and strategic deception. The warlike humans were starting to see their enemies not as monsters, but as beings, forced to become something against their nature. 6 more relay stations were destroyed over the following weeks. Each attack taught both sides new lessons. The Velians learned to expect the unexpected, to plan for deception, to accept that some of their people would die. The humans learned that their enemies were not evil, just desperately trying to protect a galaxy that had known peace for millennia. Neither side understood it yet, but they were both being changed by the conflict. The Velians were becoming more human. The humans were starting to think like galactic citizens, and somewhere in the darkness between stars, other eyes were watching, waiting to see which species would emerge victorious from this first interstellar war. The real test was still coming. The Velian fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, like a storm made of stars. 300 ships dropped out of hyperspace, with lights and energy that could be seen from Mars. Each ship moved like a living creature flowing through space. Instead of flying like human machines, Admiral Veltar Moonwhisper stood on her command deck, watching Earth hang in space like a blue marble. On Earth, Commander Park Tae-min watched the alien fleet arrive from the new space station humans had built. In just 4 days around him, the best military minds from every country tried to understand what they were seeing. The alien ships did not move like human ships. They flowed and danced through space, talking to each other with patterns of colored lights. Colonel Bae Young-soo was now in charge of talking to aliens. He studied the enemy formations and said, "They are not getting ready to attack. Look at how they are arranged. It looks like doctors surrounding a sick patient." The first message from the aliens came exactly 72 hours after they arrived. When the Velian transmission reached Earth, every TV screen and computer on the planet showed the same thing. Admiral Veltar Moonwhisper. Her face looked sad to humans, and her voice came through the computers as musical and gentle people of Earth. She said, "We are the Velian 6th Science Fleet of the Galactic Cooperative. You have attacked our research ship without cause and taken our people prisoner. This makes your species hostile, under our laws. But we are peaceful. We give you one chance to surrender the criminals who did this and accept our justice. You have 48 hours to decide. President Han Mi-young spoke for the quickly made Earth Defense Council. She sent humanity, first official message to space. We deeply regret the misunderstanding that caused this conflict. Our forces believed they were saving human lives. We want to solve this peacefully and become friends with your cooperative. The Velian answer came back. In minutes, misunderstanding is not possible. Our crew was doing lawful science work in international waters when your military forces broke into our ship and attacked without warning. Surrender the criminals or face containment protocols. The humans did not understand that Velians had never met a species that made war on itself. In Velian society, fights were solved by talking and thinking together. The idea of soldiers of beings trained to kill other smart life was so strange to them, they could not process it. To the Velians, Commander Taemin team were not military people following orders. They were criminals who chose violence instead of talking. The culture gap became clear during the second day of talks. Dr. Yoon Ji-hee, Earth leading alien expert, tried to explain human military to the Velian computer brain. These soldiers were following lawful orders from their government, she explained. They thought they were saving human lives. The Velian computer answered immediately and with confusion. You say your government ordered people to commit violence against peaceful beings. This suggests your entire government is criminal. Please explain how this is different from organized planet-wide crime. On the Velian flagship, Admiral Veltar was getting reports from her security chief Warsinger Korthak Dawnbreaker. The Velians had been studying human TV shows, internet posts, and history books for 3 days. What they found scared them, Admiral. The security chief reported these beings have been at war with themselves for their entire history. They have weapons that can destroy their own planet. Their entertainment is mostly pretend violence. Their economic systems reward aggressive competition. They are not just hostile. They are a warrior species. The Velians faced something they had never seen in 2,000 years of peaceful exploration. A civilization that had evolved through constant war. Every part of human culture was impossible for them to understand. Humans competed in everything from sports to business. They celebrated historical battles. Their heroes were often warriors and conquerors. On Earth, military experts were reaching their own disturbing conclusions. General Moon Chan-wook analyzed the alien fleet and gave a serious assessment to the Defense Council. Their ships are fast, their technology is centuries ahead of ours, but they are not made for war. These are exploration and research ships with defensive systems added later. They are trying to contain us, not destroy us. Both sides realized the truth at the same time. The Velians saw humans as dangerous warriors who might spread violence through the peaceful galaxy. The humans saw the Velians as naive peacekeepers who had never faced real opposition and might be weak against tactics they could not imagine. When the 48-hour deadline ended, the Velians turned on their containment protocols. An energy barrier began forming around Earth's solar system, designed to prevent any human expansion into space. It was a prison made of light and force fields, invisible but impossible to break through. President Han's response was broadcast on all frequencies. You have declared war on humanity by trying to imprison our entire species. We did not ask for this conflict, but we will not submit to captivity. If you want a war, you have found the one species in this galaxy that knows how to fight one. Admiral Veltar got this message while thinking quietly in her private rooms. For the first time in her 300-year life, she felt something her species had almost forgotten: fear. Not fear of death, but fear of what they might have to become to deal with this threat. Dr. Song Kyung-ho had been working without sleep for days studying the captured Velian technology. He had discovered something amazing. The aliens did not program their computers like humans did. They trained them like pets. Their systems learned and grew and could be taught new things. But this gave humans an advantage. The aliens did not expect living systems could be poisoned. The poison Dr. Song created was not chemical or biological. It was informational, a computer virus designed to copy Velian communication patterns while slowly breaking their systems from the inside. The virus carried something the peaceful Velians had never encountered: the concept of lying and deception. When the containment barrier finished forming around Earth's solar system, the first human counterattack was already launching. Commander Tae-min was leading a strike force toward the alien positions, carrying weapons that the Galactic Cooperative had never seen before. The real war was about to begin, and both sides were about to learn things about themselves they never knew. The peaceful Velians would have to learn to fight. The warlike humans would have to learn to think beyond simple violence. In space, the energy barrier glowed like a cage around Earth's solar system. But inside that cage, humanity was preparing to show the galaxy. What happened when you tried to imprison the apex predators of Earth? The Velians had made their choice. Now they would learn what war really meant when waged by beings who had spent 10,000 years perfecting it. Both species were about to be changed forever by what came next. Commander Park Tae-min stood inside the strange alien ship deep under the ocean near Busan, Korea. His black military suit was still smoking from the big fight that just happened. The alien captain lay on the floor, not moving. Purple blood was everywhere, around its weird three-armed body. What started as a normal rescue mission had become something much bigger. Humans had just met aliens for the first time, and everything went wrong. 3 days before this, Commander Tae-min got orders to check out. Some weird energy signals coming from deep in the ocean. Satellites found something huge under the water, something that should not be there. When Navy divers went down to look, they never came back up. Admiral Kim called the best soldiers he had. The Navy SEAL Sergeant Lee Da-hoon was the tech guy on the team. He looked at his computers as their submarine got close to the target. Through the dark water, they could see something impossible. A ship as big as 10 football fields. Its metal skin had patterns that seemed to move and change colors in their lights. The alien ship belonged to beings called Velians. They were doing science work on Earth oceans. Their ship got broken during a space storm and crashed into the deepest part of the ocean. When human divers found their ship, the Velian computers thought the humans were trying to attack. The divers got captured, but the aliens did not hurt them. They put the humans in special sleeping rooms to keep them safe while they tried to figure out what to do. Commander Tae-min's team got into the alien ship through what looked like a repair door. Inside the ship was like a crazy maze. The floors and walls did not make sense. Sometimes gravity worked sideways. Sometimes it worked upside down. The walls glowed with lights that hurt human eyes to look at. Corporal Choi Min-ho, the team doctor, kept checking his equipment. He thought his machines were broken. The air was safe to breathe, but it tasted like metal. They found the captured human divers in rooms that looked like hospitals. The aliens had machines watching the humans' heartbeats and keeping them healthy. The Velians were trying to help the hurt divers get better. But to the SEAL team, it looked like the aliens were doing experiments. When the Velians tried to talk to the humans using their computer voices, it sounded like scary robot noises and angry growling. The fight that happened next was fast and terrible. Human weapons were made for fighting other humans. They worked very well against aliens who had never fought anyone. The Velian defense systems were made to stop people, not kill them. In just a few minutes, Commander Tae-min's team had fought their way to the main control room and beaten all the alien crew as the alien captain fell down unconscious. His last words came through the computer translator very clearly. "Why do the humans of Earth attack us? We came in peace, wanting only to learn. Our fleet will make you pay for this attack on our science mission." The words hit Commander Tae-min like a punch to the stomach. Fleet. This was not just one ship. This was a scout ship from an advanced alien civilization that now thought humans had started a war. Through the big windows of the control room, emergency signals were already flying toward the stars, carrying news of the attack back to the alien homeworld. Lieutenant Nam Soo-jin was the communications expert. She worked fast to break into the alien computer systems. What she found made everything worse. The Velians were not just advanced. They were part of something called the Galactic Cooperative, a peaceful group of 47 different alien species that had lived in harmony for over 2,000 years. Earth was about to be marked as a dangerous warlike species by a civilization that controlled multiple star systems. Within hours of getting back to the surface, the implications became clear. The alien ship emergency broadcasts had already reached several Velian outposts. Response. Fleets were being put together. Earth's first contact with aliens had been a disaster, and now humanity faced punishment from a force they could not understand or fight. But Admiral Kim saw something else in the data that Lieutenant Nam Soo-jin had stolen. The galactic cooperative strength came from being peaceful. Their weapons were made for defense, not attack. Their fighting methods were based on capturing enemies, not destroying them. They had no experience fighting a species that had spent its entire history learning how to make war. As emergency meetings started in every major capital around the world as world leaders tried to understand what had happened, Commander Tae-min stood in the briefing room looking at pictures of the Velian fleet heading toward Earth's solar system. His team had made first contact by accidentally starting a war between planets. Now somehow they would have to find a way to either make peace or make sure humanity survived what was coming. The countdown to contact had started. Earth had 96 hours to get ready for visitors who believed they were coming to punish an aggressive species that had attacked their peaceful scientists. In Washington, D.C., President Han Mi-young called together the world's best military minds. In Moscow, Beijing, London, and every other capital, similar meetings were happening. The same question was being asked everywhere. How do you fight an enemy from the stars? Dr. Song Kyung-ho worked day and night in his lab trying to understand the alien technology they had captured. What he found was amazing. The aliens did not just build their machines, they grew them like plants. Their ships and weapons were partly alive, able to fix themselves and change to meet new situations. Meanwhile, in space, the Velian fleet was getting closer. Every hour brought them nearer to Earth. 300 ships, each one a masterwork of biotechnology that had taken decades to grow instead of build. The beings inside those ships believed they were coming to deal with a dangerous new threat to galactic peace. They had no idea they were about to meet the one species in the galaxy that had turned warfare into an art form. Admiral Veltar Moonwhisper commanded the fleet from her flagship. She was a peaceful explorer who had spent her long life studying new worlds and meeting new species. Never in her 300 years had she encountered a species that chose violence over communication. The idea that intelligent beings would attack without trying to talk first was so strange to her that she could barely understand it. As Earth prepared for the arrival of the alien fleet, both sides made the same mistake. They underestimated each other. The Velians thought they were dealing with primitive, violent beings who could be easily contained. The humans thought they were facing naive peacekeepers who would be helpless against real military tactics. Neither side understood that they were about to begin a conflict that would change both species forever. The war between Earth and the Galactic Cooperative was about to begin, and it would teach both civilizations lessons they never expected to learn. The alien fleet would arrive in less than 4 days, and Earth was running out of time to prepare. 3 months into the war, Admiral Veltar stood in what used to be her quiet thinking room, now changed into a military planning center. Computer displays showed human attack patterns, and for the first time in Velian history, military planners tried to understand an alien idea: intentional violence. The change had not been easy. War singer Korthak Dawnbreaker, now reluctantly serving as the fleet's first military commander, struggled with ideas that had no words in Velian language. How do you explain surprise attacks to a species that had never learned to hide their thoughts? How do you teach acceptable losses to beings who valued every single life? The humans have destroyed 6 more relay stations, reported defense singer Matt Hull, Peacekeeper, her traditional title now cruelly ironic. They use what they call hit-and-run tactics. They strike quickly, cause maximum damage, then retreat before our response forces can engage. On Earth, the war had changed humanity in ways no one had expected. Dr. Song Kyung-ho research teams worked around the clock, not just to understand Velian technology, but to mass-produce weapons based on alien science factories that had once made civilian electronics, now made devices that could disrupt organic computer systems across interstellar distances. Commander Park Tae-min found himself training not just special forces, but ordinary civilians who volunteered for the most dangerous missions. Teacher Lee Soonja, who had never held a weapon in her life, learned to pilot captured Velian fighters with suicidal determination. Mechanic Ryu Dong-min figured out how to modify human explosives to be more effective against living alien structures. The barrier effectiveness is down to 60%. reported General Moon Chan-wook during the daily war briefing. At this rate, we will have a clear path to open space within 6 months. But the Valians are learning. Their latest defensive positions show tactical awareness they did not have before. The learning process on both sides was brutal and transformative. The Valians began studying human military history, trying to understand warfare through the lens of beings who had perfected it. They analyzed every human conflict from ancient battles to modern terrorism, searching for patterns they could recognize, and counter-battle singer Quintar. Lightbringer, formerly a peaceful explorer, now led Velian forces with growing tactical sophistication. The humans excel at deception and unpredictability, she reported to Admiral Veltar. But they also have weaknesses. They form emotional attachments to their fellow warriors. They will take significant risks to avoid leaving their comrades behind. This discovery led to the first successful Velian counter-strategy. Instead of trying to destroy human attack forces, they began capturing them, knowing that other humans would attempt rescue missions. What should have been tactical advantages became strategic vulnerabilities. The first human capture occurred during a raid on Relay Station 14. Captain Nam Soo-jin team had successfully planted their charges when Velian forces surrounded them, using a tactic they had learned from studying human police procedures. The coordinated ambush, but the Velians still did not understand the human concept of prisoner exchange. When they offered to return Captain Nam in exchange for stopping attacks on the relay network, President Han's response confused them. Our soldiers knew the risks when they volunteered. Captain, Nam would be the first to tell you to continue the mission. The rescue attempt came 3 days later. Commander Taemin led a strike force directly into the heart of the Velian fleet, using a captured alien ship to approach the flagship undetected. The battle that followed introduced the Velians to another human specialty: boarding actions in space. They are inside the ship. Admiral Veltar Aide reported in panic as human soldiers fought their way through corridors that had never been designed for combat. The Velians' organic ships built for peaceful exploration became death traps as human explosives and weapons caused system-wide failures. Commander Taemin team fought through deck after deck using tactics that the Velians could not counter, because they had no experience with close-quarters combat. Human soldiers moved through the alien ship like a virus, attacking the body from within. Every corridor became a battlefield, every room a potential trap. The Velian crew had never faced enemies inside their own ship. They had no protocols for internal security, no weapons designed for close combat. Their ship itself tried to help them, sealing corridors and releasing sleep gas, but human soldiers had equipment to counter these defenses. When they reached the area where Captain Nam was being held, they found something that changed both sides' understanding of the conflict. The Velians had not been torturing their prisoner or doing experiments. They had been trying to heal her captain. Nam lay in an organic pod, similar to those they had seen on the relay stations, with Velian medical systems working to repair injuries she had gotten during capture. They have been taking care of me, Captain Nam told Commander Taemin in confusion. As they prepared for extraction, the medical computer keeps asking me questions about human emotions, about why we fight. I think they are trying to understand us. The revelation changed nothing about the immediate tactical situation. Commander Taemin team still had to fight their way back to their ship, still had to escape the Velian fleet with their rescued comrade. But as they fled through space, pursued by alien ships, both sides carried new knowledge about their enemies. Admiral Veltar reviewed the boarding action footage with growing understanding. They came for one individual, she thought to her staff. They risked their mission, their lives, their entire war effort to rescue a single comrade. This is not mere aggression, it is loyalty on. The human side Captain Nam debriefing raised equally troubling questions. They are not evil, she reported to the Defense Council. They are genuinely trying to protect the galaxy from what they see as a dangerous species. From their perspective, we are the villains. Dr. Yoon Ji-hye, who had been studying Velian psychology since first contact, offered a disturbing analysis. We are teaching them to be warriors. Every engagement makes them more effective, more willing to accept casualties, more capable of strategic thinking. We are creating the very enemy we are fighting against. The war had reached a turning point. The humans were winning tactically, slowly dismantling the containment field that imprisoned their solar system. But the Velians were learning, adapting, becoming something their peaceful nature had never intended them to be. Both species were transforming and neither fully understood what they were becoming. The peaceful Velians were learning concepts like sacrifice strategy and acceptable losses. The warlike humans were beginning to see their enemies as beings with their own valid reasons for fighting. Admiral Veltar made a decision that would have been impossible 3 months earlier. She began studying human military philosophy, not just their tactics. Sun Tzu, Clausewitz, Napoleon, the great military minds of human history. Their ideas were alien to her, but she forced herself to understand them. On Earth, Commander Tai Min faced his own transformation. He had started this war by accident, but now he was becoming something more than just a soldier. He was becoming a teacher, showing the galaxy what humans could do when pushed to their limits. The next phase of the war would test everything both species had learned. The Velians were no longer just peaceful explorers trying to contain a dangerous species. They were becoming warriors, and the humans were no longer just fighting for their freedom. They were fighting for their place in a galaxy that might never accept them. Neither side knew that their war had attracted the attention of something far worse than either of them could imagine. The first sign that their war had attracted attention from across the galaxy came through the Cooperative Emergency Communication Network. Ambassador Zeth Kala of the Christine Collective, a species that had been peaceful members of the Galactic Cooperative for over 1,000 years, sent an urgent message to Admiral Veltar. Your conflict with the humans has been detected by hostile elements outside cooperative space. The Void Reapers are mobilizing. President Han received Earth copy of the intercepted transmission in her emergency bunker deep beneath Sol. Around her, the leaders of every major nation struggled to understand what this meant. They had been so focused on fighting the Velians that they had not considered who else might be watching their war. The Void Reapers, explained Dr. Park Min-jung, who had been studying captured Velian databases, are exactly what we feared the Galactic Cooperative was. A truly warlike species that the Cooperative has been keeping away through superior numbers and defensive technology. They have been waiting centuries for the Cooperative to show weakness. Commander Park Tai-min, fresh from his latest successful raid against Velian positions, reviewed the intelligence with growing concern. So by fighting the Velians, we have weakened the only force keeping space pirates from overrunning this part of the galaxy. The strategic picture was becoming clear and terrifying. The Galactic Cooperative maintained peace through strength, but their strength came from unity and overwhelming numbers, not from superior military technology. The Velians were the cooperative primary military force, not because they were warriors, but because they were the most numerous and technologically advanced. Admiral Veltar faced the same realization from the other side. Her fleet, which had been the cooperative main deterrent against external threats, was now trapped in a grinding war with a single planet. Worse, her forces were scattered across dozens of light years, their attention focused on containing humanity rather than defending cooperative space. The Void Reapers struck 3 days later. Their target was New Harmony, a peaceful, pristine colony world that had never known conflict. The UI attack was swift and brutal, using tactics that made human warfare look restrained by comparison. The Void Reapers did not just conquer worlds, they consumed them, stripping away everything of value and leaving barren rocks behind. News of the attack reached both fleets simultaneously, carried by desperate refugees who had escaped the massacre. The transmission that played across every screen in human space and Velian ships showed the aftermath, a world that had been home to millions of beings, reduced to smoking ruins in a matter of hours. The Cooperative Emergency Council has issued a priority recall. Admiral Veltar, communication officer, reported, all military vessels are ordered to abandon current operations and return to defend the core worlds. President Han stood before the United Nations General Assembly, now relocated to a secure facility on Luna, and faced the most difficult decision in human history. The Velian fleet was preparing to withdraw, leaving Earth's solar system. To respond to the greater threat, humanity could continue dismantling the weakening containment field and achieve their freedom, or they could make a choice that would define their species' future. The Void Reapers represent everything we feared about. First contact, she told the assembled leaders. They are conquerors, destroyers, the kind of enemy that makes us grateful for enemies like the Velians. We have a choice: win our war and inherit a galaxy at war, or make peace and fight for something bigger than our own freedom. The debate that followed split humanity down the middle. Military leaders like General Moon Chan-wook argued for continuing the war. We are winning, the Velians are retreating. Why should we help the people who tried to imprison us? But others like Dr. Song Kyung-ho saw the larger picture. The Velians made a mistake, but they are not evil. The Void Reapers are something else entirely. If we let the cooperative fall, we will face them alone. Commander Taemin found himself at the Yao, center of the debate. His actions had started the war. His tactics had been winning it, and now his voice carried weight in determining how it would end. When asked for his opinion, his response surprised everyone. I have been fighting the Velians for 8 months. I have studied their tactics, analyzed their psychology, captured their personnel. They are not warriors by nature, but they are learning to be. The question is not whether we can beat them, it is whether we want to face the Void Reapers, with them as allies or enemies. The images from New Harmony played continuously on every news channel. Entire cities turned to glass forests, burned to ash, oceans boiled away. The Void Reapers had destroyed in hours what had taken millions of years to build. They were not just conquering, they were erasing entire civilizations from existence. Dr. Yoon Ji-hae, now serving as humanity expert on alien psychology, presented the most compelling argument. The Velians imprisoned us because they feared we would bring violence to the galaxy. The Void Reapers proved they were right to be afraid, but now we have a chance to show that human violence can protect as well as destroy. The decision came down to a single vote in the UN Security Council. Admiral Kim cast the deciding ballot, choosing cooperation over conquest. Within hours, President Han was broadcasting humanity, most important message since the war began. Admiral Veltar, this is President Han of Earth. We propose an immediate ceasefire and alliance against the Void Reapers. Our species may have gotten off to a bad start, but we share a common enemy now. Let us see what humans and Velians can accomplish when we fight together, instead of against each other. The response came from Admiral Veltar herself, speaking directly to the camera with an expression that the universal translator could not quite capture. Humans of Earth, your proposal is unprecedented. The cooperative has protocols for surrender, for containment, for punishment. We have no protocols for alliance with former enemies. Perhaps it is time we learned. What followed was the fastest diplomatic negotiation in galactic history. The Velian containment field was reconfigured to become a defensive perimeter. Human military advisors were beamed aboard cooperative ships to teach tactics they had never needed. Before, Velian scientists shared technology with humans who had proven they could adapt alien science for warfare. Dr. Song Kyung-ho found himself working alongside Velian biotechnicians, creating hybrid weapon systems that combined the best of both technologies. Velian living computers learned human concepts of deception and misdirection. Human electronics were enhanced with alien self-repair capabilities. Commander Taemin was assigned to train Velian military units in human combat tactics. The peaceful aliens struggled with concepts like flanking maneuvers, suppressing fire, and strategic retreats, but they learned with the desperation of beings who had seen what happened to worlds that could not defend themselves. The combined fleet that assembled to face the Void Reapers was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Velian organic ships enhanced with human weapons systems, human vessels equipped with alien technology and tactics that combined the best of both species' approaches to conflict. Admiral Veltar stood on the bridge of her flagship, now equipped with human tactical systems, and watched as the joint fleet prepared for battle beside her. Commander Taemin studied enemy positions with eyes that had learned to see beyond simple victory or defeat. We are about to face beings who have perfected the art of destruction. Admiral Veltar said to her human advisor, they have been waiting for us to show weakness, and we have given them exactly what they wanted. But Commander Taemin's response carried the confidence of a species that had never backed down from a fight. Then they are about to learn what happens when warriors and peacemakers stop fighting each other and start fighting together. The real test was coming, and both humanity and the Galactic Cooperative would face it united. The final battle began at the edge of the Kepler system, where the Void Reaper invasion fleet had gathered to launch their assault on the cooperative core worlds. Commander Park Taemin stood on the bridge of the hybrid ship Harmony Edge, watching as 300 Void Reaper vessels prepared to face the combined might of two species who had learned to fight together. The ship itself was a marvel of cooperation. Velian organic technology formed the living hull capable of self-repair and adaptation, while human weapons systems provided the firepower that the peaceful aliens had never needed to develop. The bridge crew was equally mixed. Velian navigation specialists, working alongside human tactical officers, creating strategies that neither species could have conceived alone. Void Reaper fleet composition. Confirmed, reported Lieutenant Commander Choi Min-ho, now serving as the Joint Fleet Intelligence Officer. 200 assault vessels, 50 support ships, and their command dreadnought, World Eater. They are using formation patterns we have never seen before. Admiral Veltar, who had agreed to serve as Joint Commander alongside Admiral Kim, studied the enemy disposition with eyes that had learned to see warfare as more than mere violence. The humans are correct. These formations are designed for planetary bombardment, not fleet engagement. They expect to sweep aside minimal resistance and proceed directly to civilian targets. The Void Reapers had ruled their corner of the galaxy through terror and overwhelming force. Their ships were weapons of mass destruction designed to crack planets and harvest the debris. They had never faced organized resistance from species that had learned to combine peace with war, wisdom with aggression. President. Han voice came through the communication system, broadcast simultaneously to every human and Velian ship in the fleet. 8 months ago, our species met through misunderstanding and conflict. Today we stand together against an enemy that represents everything we both oppose: the conquest of the innocent, the destruction of peace, the triumph of brutality over civilization. Let us show them what cooperation can accomplish. The battle began with something the Void Reapers had never encountered: coordinated deception on an interstellar scale. Dr. Song Kyung-ho virus technology, refined through months of warfare against Velian systems, had been adapted to disrupt the Reapers' targeting computers. Meanwhile, Velian biotechnology created false sensor readings that made the defensive fleet appear scattered and vulnerable. They are taking the bait, reported Captain Nam Soo-jin from her position, commanding a squadron of hybrid fighters. Void Reaper assault groups are breaking formation to pursue what they think are fleeing transports. The fleeing transports were actually heavily armed human vessels using Velian camouflage technology. As the Void Reapers closed in for easy kills, they found themselves facing enemies that had learned to appear weak while striking with devastating force. Human weapons enhanced with Velian biotechnology tore through Reaper formations that had never faced coordinated resistance. But the Reapers were not the mindless brutes that first intelligence. Reports had suggested their command ship World Eater hung back from the initial engagement, allowing its subordinate vessels to probe the defense, while its computer systems analyzed the unexpected resistance. The enemy is adapting faster.